Something happens, and before you decide anything, your body is already doing it. Loneliness now carries a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and laughter evolved specifically to prevent it. So why did ancient humans start laughing at all? You're probably thinking laughter evolved because things were funny. That gets the causality exactly backwards. In 2022, Professor Robin Dunbar at the University of Oxford published a study in the Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society B using a reverse engineering approach, modeling group sizes and grooming time requirements for fossil hominin species, to find the evolutionary moment where a new bonding mechanism became necessary. The results placed the origin of human-like laughter at approximately 2.5 million years ago, with the appearance of the genus Homo. The finding: in non-human primates, social bonding is maintained through physical grooming, which releases endorphins. The brain's internally produced opioids. But grooming is one-to-one. It has a ceiling. A group beyond a certain size cannot be held together by touch alone. Laughter was the solution, not the reward for something funny, the mechanism itself. And that distinction changes everything about what laughter actually is. Duchenne laughter, named after the neurologist who first distinguished genuine from performed expressions, wasn't just an emotion. It was a physical exertion. A genuine laugh produces rapid contractions of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles, forcing air out in discrete pulses at approximately 200 milliseconds per burst, exhausting the abdominal muscles. And that exhaustion triggers endorphin release, the same neuropeptides released by physical exercise. This wasn't just a reaction. It was a workout that delivered neurochemical bonding to everyone within earshot, simultaneously. The counterintuitive detail: because genuine laughter is involuntary, it cannot be faked convincingly at close range. Humans distinguish authentic from performed laughter by acoustic properties alone, making shared laughter also a real-time honesty detector. You knew who was genuinely bonded. Contagious laughter worked through a mirror mechanism. Hearing laughter activates the same promoter cortical areas that produce it, creating an automatic readiness to join in that bypasses conscious decision-making. One genuine laugh in a group of 10 reaches everyone within seconds. This wasn't just a social behavior. It was a biological broadcast. One signal, endorphins delivered to the entire group in under 30 seconds. The hunt failed this morning. The group is back at camp before midday, which means something went wrong. You can feel it, not as a thought, but as a physical state. Muscles slightly tighter, breathing slightly shallower, attention narrowed. Then someone does something. Trips, drops their tools, makes a sound nobody expected. It starts in 2 people, then 4. Then the chest contracts, the breath comes in pulses, and for several seconds you are not tracking the tree line or managing the hierarchy or calculating tomorrow's food. You are entirely inside this sound, and so is everyone around you. What just happened is biochemically precise. The physical exertion of sustained laughter drove your cortisol, the stress hormone that had been elevated since the failed hunt, into competition with the endorphins now flooding your opioid receptors. Cortisol loses. The group's collective stress response drops, simultaneously, without a plan, without a leader. This is why ethnographic records of hunter-gatherer societies document humor specifically after high-stress events, not as relief in the emotional sense, as a neurochemical reset, the fastest available mechanism for restoring the hormonal baseline required for cooperative decision-making. The humor did not need to be good. It needed to be shared. Even weak, forced laughter produces partial endorphin release. The social signal of attempting to laugh together was itself partially functional, regardless of the quality of the joke. Meanwhile, somewhere across the camp, a 3-month-old infant is doing something that has no modern equivalent in terms of biological function, making an adult who shares no genetic material with it laugh. The infant cannot speak, cannot reciprocate resources, cannot contribute to the group's survival in any measurable way. But when it produces laughter in an alloparent, an unrelated caregiver, it biochemically doses that adult with the same endorphin response produced by physical grooming. The adult, neurochemically rewarded, invests more time. The infant survives not because it is cute, but because it discovered, before language existed, how to administer an opioid. The cold air sharpens after midday. The group settles. Someone is still laughing, quietly, at whatever it was. The sound moves through the camp like a second fire. The first break arrived roughly 10,000 years ago with urbanization. In a forager band of 20 to 150 people, everyone was known to everyone else, and shared laughter was a daily biological event. In an agricultural settlement of several thousand, strangers surrounded you. The word loneliness did not enter the English language until 1800. Not because the feeling was new, but because the social conditions that produce chronic loneliness at scale did not exist until cities were already permanent. The second break was the screen. Laughter's endorphin mechanism requires physical co-presence. The mirror-neuron cascade that spreads laughter through a group operates through acoustic and visual signals processed in real time at close range. PET imaging studies confirming endorphin release were conducted in conditions of physical co-presence. The mechanism has not been shown to operate equivalently through a device. What was lost was not the reflex. It was the delivery system. An emoji is a cognitive representation of laughter. It does not exhaust the abdominal muscles. It does not propagate contagiously. It does not dose anyone with anything. The result, half of all us adults now report experiencing loneliness, a condition carrying 30% higher early mortality risk. A population laughing more hours per day than any ancestral human, but laughing alone. You send a laughing emoji. They exhaled in synchronized pulses until their abdominal muscles gave out. You laugh at a screen, in a room, by yourself. They laughed in a group that immediately became, neurochemically, a single organism. You have the reflex. You no longer have the conditions that made it matter. Laughter didn't evolve because life was funny. It evolved because without it, groups fell apart. And groups that fell apart did not survive. We still laugh. We just no longer do it together often enough for the biology to work. This content is intended strictly for educational and documentary purposes. All historical, anthropological, and neuroscientific references are drawn from peer-reviewed research and named academic sources.